Steve-O.
We back.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Good to have bro in the building. Listen, man, the Chicago Bulls tonight take on the Golden State Warriors extra late. So if you're gonna stay up late for tonight's game, hey, go ahead check out my boys Bobby and C Dub over on Shot Bulls podcast. I got a question for you too about Chennedy Carter and her Chicago Sky situation, and we're gonna discuss how we feel about Ben Johnson's press conference introduction to the Chicago Bears fans. But of course, we're going to have to listen to the intro. All right, what's the word, Chicago sports fans? Welcome to another episode of Chi-Town Sports Central. Y'all already know what to do. Just follow us wherever you like to receive your social media. TikTok is still alive and kicking, so you know you can find us over there too. Steve-O, what up, boy?
Man, what's the word?
Damn, Joe, this moving stuff is not for the faint of heart. I live in the hood where they're like, man, you can only put out one big item at a time. You're trying to get
Bro,
your beds and dressers and all.
one one summer I helped two families move out their house. I said I'm never helping nobody move their house ever again.
I grew up going to church, so I know what it is. We was helping people
Man,
move.
when you had the outside revivals and you had to bring all the stuff from inside, and then we got that old school church. It's 3 levels, so
hmm
you climbing them stairs.
Not even just church, but I'm a little bit older than you, so like whenever people got new apartments, new houses, they was like,
Mm-hmm.
"Oh, we gonna buy some pizza and have the brothers come help
Mm-hmm.
us."
Hey, we gonna have a prayer breakfast. We gonna go out, walk and pray, and after that, we gonna help these people bring their groceries in their house.
Yeah, man. So listen, man, Ben Johnson, speaking of bringing groceries to the house, I mean, I'm hoping that he bring everything and the kitchen sink to the Chicago Bears, bro.
Facts.
We saw him enter Hallis Hall to a standing ovation. A lot of people like, please don't fire me. I'm an administrative assistant. Hey.
I thought that was kind of weird.
Like they was so geeked, bro. It was crazy, bro. But hey,
Yeah,
I'm not go ahead.
I was like, yeah, like I mean, that is one of the reasons why he chose to, because he kept on emphasizing that he chose to come here, and it was because one of the family environment that he got here. Like, I'm gonna be honest, like I pay attention to what happens and how other organizations treat and how they bring in others. Like, I can't put on my finger how many times I've seen an organization welcome somebody in like that.
Yeah, no, it was almost like he was walking down that Jennifer Hudson show hallway when they
No,
be singing them songs.
me.
But it was actually pretty cool to see. So yesterday though, they did give him the introductory press conference. Two things I liked about it. One was the fact that Ryan Poles gave like a small introduction. He didn't stand up there and go over a litany of things. He gave like a 2-minute statement and sat his little self down. And then Ben Johnson, man, he said all the right things. And of course, every coach is gonna say the right things, but I was just peeping how his mind works when they were asking questions to him. And like you said, one of the things he said the reason why he chose here is because he just loved the city of Chicago. Him and his family come to see the Cubs for the last 10 years. I thought about you when he said that.
I
And
was
then
like, really, bro?
and then not just that, but the people of Chicago
Mhm.
impressed him. He liked the people of Chicago. He liked the organization, the people within the organization, which is hard to do because I know we don't like hardly any of these people within the organization. It's been starting with George McCaskill at the top of that list. But the fact that they were able to sell him and his team on coming to the Chicago Bears via a Zoom meeting, that was impressive to me as well, considering how inept the Chicago Bears can be in trying to organize things. They've been disorganized pretty much all of our lives, specifically during the George McCaskill run. So, give me a few tidbits on how you felt about his press conference.
For one, he won the press conference, and I mean that don't mean nothing, but I think it means a little something due to the fact that the last head coach that we had when he was introduced, we walked away from the press conference like, oh, this guy. We didn't really feel that good about him, and lo and behold, for 3 to 4 years later, it was everything we thought it was gonna be. And I think the most important thing I walked away from his interview is that This is a job that he wanted. He wasn't shying away from it, and he's a highly competitive person. And he wants to beat the best of the best, and he want to play with the best of the best. A lot of people during this whole talking situation of the head coaches around the league, other spots was saying how much it'd be more favorable for him to go places like the Raiders or places like the
The
Jags,
Jaguars, yeah.
mainly the Jags, because everybody felt like the division that they have over there, it'd be a cakewalk. He easily come in and be one of the best coaches there. And like us and the Raiders, it would be a little bit different. With the Raiders, you got to go over there, go against Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs.
Denver.
John Harbaugh and Lamar, Denver and Bo.
Now Lamar is in the AFC North.
Oh, I'm thinking of the other Harbaugh,
The
him and
Chargers.
Chargers. Yeah,
Yeah.
Justin and the Chargers. So
Hmm.
going against easily, you just put yourself either fourth, probably fourth on that ranking when it comes to that, and then
Well, part of the reason why I think he did that though is because he said it. He felt like the Chicago Bears were
yeah.
a sleeping giant. Coming into this
Hmm.
season, he was worried about the Bears as an opposing coach. So
Yep.
he sees the talent. And one of the things before you go for it that I truly enjoyed was the way that he's going to approach the playbook. He's not going to be Matt Nagy and come over here and try to force, because
Mhm.
I compare him more to Matt Nagy than Eberflus, because Matt Nagy was the last offensive coordinator that the Chicago Bears hired. However, some people who are comparing them as apples to apples. I believe it's apples to oranges. I believe Matt Nagy came over here with someone else's playbook and had to realize that he wasn't all he thought he was cracked up to be, versus a gentleman who built his own playbook up and helped revive a franchise that was not known to be a good team just in general. And not only have they gotten better and better each year with him and of course Dan Campbell, but they became the best team in the NFC while he was the offensive coordinator with his own play calling style. So he is going to tear it down to the studs, his own words, and allow him and Caleb Williams to put in place a system that's going to best benefit everybody on this offensive
Yeah.
roster.
Yeah, because that's the worst thing you can do as a coach is bring the same exact system that you run at your previous spot to the new spot, because your previous spot is not with your new spot. We don't have the same type of talent that we have here. Yeah, we are talented, but it's a different type of talent. And he realizes that he can't run it exactly how. So he's going to sit down, get used to his players around him, learn the people. Also try. He said he is going to try to mirror the line online that was created in in Detroit. I don't know. I was going to say New York, but in Detroit. And I think that's the main thing he wants. Like if he's going to try to mimic anything he did over there, is mainly the culture and the O line. Everything else, I think he's going to put his own emphasis on based on what we have and what he has creative in his mind to turn us into what he wants us to be.
Yeah, because again, speaking of the last offensive coordinator that was here, Shane Waldron did not try to implement a system that best suited the players until like what, week 4, week 5, after they had the meltdown. Like, hey fam, like you gotta, something gotta give, bro. So like he was trying to force them to be what he wanted them to be as opposed to allowing them to be themselves. And it ultimately led to him being fired within the season, which was crazy to see. Another thing that I like about what he said was when he addressed the players, he said, get comfortable being uncomfortable. That was one. And two, someone asked him, does he believe that this team can make it to the playoffs in
Yep.
2025? And he said, we can if we work hard and sacrifice a lot, then we can do it. So this guy
Mhm.
is not coming in here with a mentality of, oh, we're just going to try to build and work our way towards it. No, he wants to win now, and he wants the players to understand that to win now is going to be a lot of late nights and early mornings.
And that was the first thing he said to the players in the press conference: "Get comfortable being uncomfortable." And I think I would have really loved it if he told the whole damn organization that,
Hmm.
because the whole organization needs to become more uncomfortable.
Hmm.
And to some degree, I feel like they probably have. Even with George, like we know that we heard the story that when they came to the conclusion that Ben Johnson was their number one, and how much it would cost to get him, he didn't bat an eye. I'm pretty sure that was an uncomfortable feeling for him because he's not known to do that.
Hmm.
So yeah, I think this whole team, including the team itself, it's including the staff, the team inside the Hallis, everybody. It's going to take a team effort, and it's going to take a supreme amount of focus, discipline, and like he said, most importantly, sacrifice. If you hear about anything about these coaches and executives, what it takes to be an executive or a coach, they don't see their damn family. Majority of the time, they don't see their family. You heard him talk to his family, how much he appreciated. He said one of the most selfish things he asked his wife ever was to join his journey of him being that coach, which it
Mm-hmm.
is because it's moving, it's constant moving. He already talked about he been from Miami to Miami to Detroit in the last, I would say, 15 years.
Mm-hmm.
That's a big jump to go from Florida to Detroit to Michigan to
Dusty,
Chicago. Like that's a
Dusty.
lot on a family.
Yeah, man. So like, again, I enjoyed the press conference. He said the right things, and I firmly believe the Bears got this right. Now it's going to have to be, like I said
Proven.
before, Ryan Poles, Kevin Warren, George McCaskill. They have, and of course Ben Johnson. They have a lot of work to do, and they got to get everything right. We got to bat in the high 90s. Hopefully, they can bat 1,000. Um, because frankly, they got to get the coaching staff right. Then they got to get the free agency right. Then they got
And
to
the
get the
draft.
draft right. Then they got to get training camp right. Then they got to get OTAs, all that stuff. They got to get
It's a lot of
everything.
steps.
Everything has to be right, 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 right. You don't want to see nobody holding out and missing this and doing like we saw this past season. People not
They
wanting to come to
business.
train and so on. None of that stuff. So good health, a good approach, and I'm pretty sure Caleb Williams is chomping at the bit already. He might not even be in Cancun. He might be spending the night at whatever Airbnb Ben Johnson is in right now. These guys are getting it together and trying to figure it out and starting from the
And
beginning. So
Caleb gave him. His dad. He called his daddy already. They already got a crib ready for him.
you feel me, bro? You feel me? So y'all already know what it is, man. Head on over to Chicago Bears Central if you want to hear anything else about the Chicago Bears with Big Hayes, Steve O, Bobby, C Dub, myself. We all pop in there, but Hayes, Bobby, and C Dub definitely hold it down over there. So moving on to the Chicago Bulls, man. Tonight they are taking on the Golden State Warriors at like midnight, bro. I mean, like seriously, like if you're on the East Coast, which we do have a couple people who are on the Eastern time zone, I mean, like that's a 10:30 start, 10:30 p.m. start for them, and a 9:30 p.m. start for us. And fortunately for us, the Chicago Bulls are a pretty solid road team. So they have a chance to defeat a Golden State Warriors team who played last night too. And they went down to the wire with the Golden State, I mean, with the Sacramento Kings. It was a good game. DeMar DeRozan had a strong third quarter in which I think he scored 19. De'Aaron Fox had a bad game. Actually, I think Sacramento won that game because De'Aaron Fox came alive in the fourth quarter. But at the end of the day, the Chicago Bulls haven't really had much success against the Golden State Warriors over the last 8 to 10 years. But Zach Levine is playing out of his mind right now, and
Yep.
he and Vucevic is playing motivated. He's probably auditioning for the Golden State Warriors, if we're gonna be honest. And we're looking at a team that can go out and get a road win, and hopefully this is the beginning of a winning streak after losing what 6 out of the last 7 games, and 4 of them were at home. So it was a rough home stretch for the Chicago Bulls, Steve-O. And but tonight they're trying to right the ship and get another step closer to the allergies that they face toward 500. How we feeling about tonight's matchup with the Golden State
I
Warriors?
mean, I'm not feeling the best because Golden State gonna be more ready. They played last night, even though they lost. They lost by I want to say what 4 5 points
Hmm.
against Sac, and and it was mainly just because Steph didn't have a relative good night. I think he finished with like 14 and 12, but he shot like 6 for 12 from the field. So we can't stop shit. So like can we beat this team? Yes, but it's going to have to be by outscoring. And then if that's the case, we're going to have to see one of those games where we replicate the starters getting busy. Like every damn near all the starters got to be in double digits,
Hmm.
and somebody on this bench got to do something in order us to get this win. Whether it's THT, whether it's a Phillips or somebody on that bench got to give us some quality minutes, some quality numbers in order to win this game. Yeah, because I just think it's gonna be a tough task for them to play Sacramento last night, play us again in their crib. and we still come out with the win. Now, the only thing that is on that side, we are a relatively better team playing on the road. So that's what we have against us. We more fresher in terms of legs, but we probably they're more fresher when it comes to basketball. But yeah,
And the
they
Bulls
around
haven't.
the same record, but you know.
Not really. They would be if the Bulls didn't go on that
Won
losing
two
streak.
games. Yeah, if they won two games, they'd be the same
It's
around the
just
same record.
it's ridiculous. But the Bulls should be fresh. They haven't had to travel. They've been on the West Coast since Sunday. They had the last few days off after playing LA. The LA game last night. They went to overtime with Boston was a good one too. That was
Yeah,
crazy to see the Clippers with nobody. Like they didn't have like six rotational players and three
that was
starters were out.
that ain't good on Boston part.
Yeah, Boston has they struggled. They didn't have Kristaps Porzingis, and I think Drew Holiday was out, but they did have Tatum and Brown, and
Yeah,
they still
Drew's out.
they did, but they struggled last night. But yeah, so the Bulls, man, listen, man, Billy, this the way they played this last week because last week and a half because the last time all three of us were here, we were wondering if the Chicago Bulls would be a 500 team by the time they got to that Portland
Hell
game.
no.
And not only are they not a 500 team, like they went on a vicious losing streak. They like at home. That's crazy to see, and I still believe that's a reflection on the coach.
Mm-hmm.
The coach not having them ready to go out there and represent for the home crowd. And I feel bad for all these families that's going out there spending 500, 600, $1,000, $1,500 to go watch the Bulls get blew out by the Atlanta Hawks team that they didn't even have, they didn't even have Trey Young. So it's just terrible to see. But if y'all want to hear anything else about the Chicago Bulls, head on over to Chicago Bulls Central, where Hayes is holding it down, and the Shot Bulls podcast, where Bobby and C Dub are definitely holding it down. And of course, live calls should be tonight. Should be tonight if everybody not sleep. It be cold, and when it's cold like this, you get sleepy.
You
So
take your ass to bed. I ain't gonna.
moving on to we'll talk about the sky last. So Blackhawks, not much is going on with the Blackhawks, which y'all already know.
They suck.
Yeah, they're just bad. This they're
That's
just
all it is. Carter good, they suck.
yeah, I mean they got a couple of pieces, but they still a long way away. But they got a game tomorrow against the Tampa Bay Lightning. But of course, any updates, news, and analysis on them, just head on over to Chicago Blackhawks Central. As far as the Cubs and the White Sox are concerned, you can head over to Chicago Cubs Central, where my boy Big Mike is holding it down pretty much daily with interesting breakdowns, news, and analysis. He's a Cubs fan through and through. Like he's a blessing to the network. He want to come over to talk Bears too, Steve. He keeps sending me text messages like, "Hey man, I gotta get me in on one of them discussions." So I'm gonna have to holler at the gang about that. The White Sox, I've started a series discussing their potential starting lineup. Today, we'll be discussing second baseman Lennon Sosa. If you missed yesterday's episode on Andrew Vaughn, just head on over to Chicago White Sox Central. And we appreciate all the love and support that you guys give us over there. But moving on to the Chicago Sky. Yesterday, I discussed the fact that the Chicago Sky did not tender an offer to Chennedy Carter to bring her back on to the team. And we noticed she was their leading scorer, pretty much the reason why they were even in the playoff race, especially after she came off the bench and became a starter a little bit less than halfway through the season. But hey, they say that her attitude with Teresa Witherspoon went unchecked. And honestly, this could be part of the reason why Teresa Witherspoon was fired. But I look at both of them as competitors who didn't care about all that rah-rah stuff, because when you're a competitor and you want to win games, sometimes you yell and you scream. You might kick a Gatorade bucket over or something. But yeah, so it's a wrap though. Kennedy Carter is gone. So I want to hear your thoughts on why she's gone and what that means for the Chicago Sky.
It just gotta be to the point where everything that's been preceded from her from other organizations is just true. Like sometimes somebody is just too big of a headache, no matter what their talent is. And I can't personally say what it is because I'm not in that locker room, but every single time she's in her organization, there is locker room issues every single time. So she's the common denominator in every single one. So at some point, it warrants: is it you? are you just uncoachable? Are you somebody that's just too difficult to be with? Like it's one like on the basketball side, like I kind of accepted it a while ago because, like I said, in order for this team to be the what we wanted it to be, Olivia Miles, I don't know what the name was, that person to make this team complete.
Hmm.
When we all realized we wasn't gonna get her, like Kennedy was just gonna be somebody on this team scoring, and we wasn't gonna be winning many games.
Hmm.
And with that being said, with everything that surrounds around her, it also gave me the thought process of okay, like you already got her for nothing because we she wasn't playing in the league the year previous when we grabbed her. So with us not picking up her contract, we basically losing her for nothing. And my thought process is like I understand this organization ain't the smartest and Jeff ain't made the smartest decisions and might not be the smartest, but I don't think they're that dumb either to let her go just freely. So in my mind, it's like I think Jeff thinks it's not too many teams that's really interested and willing to give her a chance, no matter what she's done.
And that may be true, and it also could be just a culture shift, considering
Yeah,
that they're going to be bringing in a top draft pick and basically two top draft picks because
yeah.
the WNBA.
Depends because you
Well,
never know we might trade it.
again, yeah, true, they could trade it, but the WNBA draft is so deep that they'd be drafting players that could play and still having to release them because they don't have enough roster spots. Now I know they got new rules and new depth this year coming into and more games, so on and so forth for the WNBA this season. But it could be that they want the person who's going to come in because it's probably going to be a point guard. They want them to be able to come in and run the show and have a big voice in the locker room as opposed to being your typical rookie. Because the WNBA can't afford to have that typical rookie approach. Like you got to come in and produce from day one and provide
Your ass out the league.
right, you got to come provide leadership from day one. And it makes it harkens back or makes me harken back to when they said they mentioned the cornerstones of the new coach was introduced and he mentioned that uh, Angel and Cardoso were cornerstones and Kennedy's name was left off that list and there was a lot of brouhaha in the comment section like how you gonna leave off Kennedy Carter. Well, that's how you gonna leave her off because they already knew back then that they weren't going to be bringing her back because I'm pretty sure they took a temperature of the team. They asked coaches, players, staff alike, how did they feel about her? And it was revealed. Like they might say in public, "Oh, that's my sister. I love her," but they told the truth and behind the scenes, and it's just now you can see the end result of it. And I
Yeah,
feel bad
because
for.
like
Go ahead.
even to some degree, like I feel like every other team has a player like a Kennedy. Like you just gotta reel it in sometime, this, that, and the third.
Hmm.
And it takes a special coaching in there. But there was just we both seen it. There was just times where she'll just tweak and we like, calm down.
Yeah.
It wasn't that necessary for you to tweak out and spaz out. Like it was times where and you're right. And you can't we can't even sit here and say it's not true when you said like it, Coach Spoon wasn't bringing it in because there was times where Coach would try to go calm her down. She wasn't having that shit. It took Angel and 14 other teammates to go
Hmm.
around her to calm her down. Like it shouldn't. Once it gets to the point where multiple players on the team have to do this checkup, and that's a distraction.
Yeah.
It's just too much. Like if the coach and the staff can't get you under control, that's when you know you have a behavior problem.
Yeah, yeah. So it's unfortunate for her, but she's doing her thing over in Japan right now, and that
China.
might China, and that might be
That's what I said. At this point, stay your ass in China, get your bread. You making the most money over there anyway.
become a legend.
It's almost getting to the point where it's like with Shorty and that left a couple years ago. That's got the OF. Like
Mm.
at
Yeah,
some point, this
ESPN.
league has told you so many times that they don't want you here.
Hmm.
So if there's an avenue for you to still live out your dreams, still do what you want to do, and still make top money, just go do that so you can stop stressing over this shit. But I understand because it's also the level of competition is different.
Hmm.
So it is. So that could also she could get bored from it, but that's what happens when you burn bridges where everywhere you go.
Yeah, yeah, that's rough. So best of luck to Kennedy Carter. Thanks for the one season that she gave us. It was
Hell
very
of a baller.
impactful. Yep, she can hoop. She one of those hoopers I believe that go to LA Fitness and dominate dudes.
Yeah.
So yeah, all right, y'all already know what it is. Hit up Chicago Sky Central for any news updates and analysis there. With Steve Vogt and Hayes are holding it down, and then we still got NBA Central, of course, where there's daily updates over there for just
Might as
all
well turn
things.
that motherfucker to Jimmy Butler Central.
Yeah, because this dude, Jimmy Butler throwing like the most.
I'm so tired. And I just want to speak on this just a
He,
little
he
bit.
throwing he's throwing an expensive tantrum.
Yeah. This is why when everybody be like, I'm too hard on Jimmy. I've always said it. Even Stacey King said it all. This shit started in Chicago. And that was around the time where I stopped fucking with Jimmy like that. Because even though if people gonna bring up, oh, he brought some teams to the finals, he shouldn't have. That nigga think he's better than what he is.
Mm-hmm.
You're not that dude.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care if you brung him to you didn't win. And until you win, you not that dude. It's
Mm-hmm.
just that simple. You want to get paid 50 fucking or 60 for they're not paying you that. You're 34. That's all I gotta say.
Yeah.
This is not nothing new he's been doing.
Yeah. Yeah, he's just throwing a tantrum because he wants to get his last big contract. He knows that Miami's not going to want to pay him that, but it's going to be some type of team that'll give him the Draymond treatment, 4 years, 100 million, something like that. So
Yeah.
it is what it is. But as long as it's not the Bulls, just let's leave the Bulls out of it. But all right, man, we
Ooh,
appreciate you guys.
I got some breaking news that's pretty good.
What's
That's gonna
that?
take folks. They got an Olympics basketball documentary dropping. It's gonna cover USA. Well, it's gonna feature. I ain't gonna say cover. Feature USA, France, Serbia, Canada, and Canadian men teams
That's gonna be
on
fun.
Netflix.
Yeah, that's gonna be fun to watch. Netflix been hitting out the park with their sports documentaries for years now,
Facts.
so stop sleeping. Starting Five was pretty good. I haven't watched all of it, but that was a pretty good one
That
too.
was good. And I really love the football ones, the wide receiver and the QBs.
Oh yeah, QB1. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I like that too. But all right, y'all know what it is. Hit us up, man. Don't forget to like, share, comment. Y'all don't be commenting on. Y'all be watching it, but y'all don't be commenting over here, man.
Facts.
Comment, hold the game down. Be praying for Q and his family to take care of some family business. And listen, you got anything else to say to the game?
Nah, we back.
Don't forget to pray, y'all. Peace.
Peace.